Welcome to episode 416 of the Drunken Shit Podcast. I'm host always, I'm Tyler. And join me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Dude, I'm feeling fucking excellent. And I'll tell you why. Because I finished a game that's been 15 years in the making.
Oh.
But, other than that, man, my work has been doing pretty fine. Did a whole bunch of stuff today. I decided to try out a freaking Dairy Queen, like, mint chocolate shake.
Always down for Dairy
It's
Queen.
one of those type of things where it's like, in the span of a year, I've had minimal types of, like, dairy stuff. I'm starting to eat progressively a little bit more than what I would like to. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? We gotta burn myself out. I gotta burn myself out somehow. And so, what did I do? I had this large freaking shake from Dairy Queen. Drank it. About halfway through it, I'm like thinking to myself, like, oh my god. I don't know if I can actually finish this shit.
Yeah. None's worse than when you just like your eyes bigger than, or your stomach, was it your eyes are bigger than your stomach kind of situation there?
Yeah, and that's weird for me because I used to drink a whole lot of sweet stuff, but then when you try to get back to eating or drinking some sweet stuff, like say you want to have like a little sugar cookie or you want to have this or that and stuff, it tastes good initially, but all of a sudden it's like you're thinking to yourself, like, you know, I could be eating this instead. I couldn't be eating that instead. But once I finish that thing, I'm like, oh my god, yeah, that's it for me for the year. But oh man, yeah, like I said, man, I'm doing fucking excellent. How are you doing, Tyler?
Doing okay. I understand that though, man. I get that. We're like more now than the last while or so. Where like I was really bad about snacks, and like I mean, I got the gut here to prove it. And I still am. I don't have the best diet in the world. I think I ate an apple the other day, and my stomach like rejected it or something there for a couple days. Like I used to, like a few years ago, like I would fucking buy like 3-4 boxes of like snack cakes every week, and I'd eat them. I eat like a whole box in like one sitting. Yeah, get the cosmic brownies, eat them all one sitting. Boom, done. No problem.
What you should do, man, is like get yourself one of those choppers. Get yourself a bunch of lettuce, all this, not lettuce, but like a bunch of spinach, like all sorts of various vegetables. Chop that all up. Then all of a sudden, get some like Thousand Island and stuff, a little bit of that.
That's a ranch.
Or ranch or whatever the hell.
Ranch
but I'm just saying, man, it's like the more vegetables and the more darker the green in terms of the leaves and stuff like that, the better it is for you. That's one of the things I'm missing from my diet in particular. It's not so much the protein or the dairy or the vitamin D in that regards, but it's more or less like the leafy greens and stuff, the vegetables that help the digestive system to clean out that crap.
Yeah, literally.
Quite literally.
No, I mean I do eat, like I'm pretty good about eating salad. I love salads. My only problem is I'll buy stuff for salads, but I don't eat it fast enough because it's like it's just me here. So it's like it made sense when, like, you know, when I was living with my family or with my ex, like we would, you know, you'd have the main course, you have like a little side, maybe it's a potato or something, you have a little salad with it, and then it's like, and now it's just me, and it's just like, I'm just gonna make some hamburger helper here, and I was like, I guess I'll eat some butter bread. I don't need anything. I don't need some extra. I don't need sides with it. What the fuck? Or it's like, oh, you know, whatever. I don't know. It's just I don't really. I'm not good, the best at sides. Like the other day, I made some kielbasa with some fried potatoes. Oh my god,
dude,
chef's kiss.
I've literally went on my lunch breaks and stuff. I walk over to the Safeway because that's what I do. I do a lot of walking, and I usually buy one of those pre-made like stuffed mushrooms. And you're supposed to let it go through and fry them, right? But you know what? I love the taste of like mushrooms and stuff. So I usually buy one of the ones that are like stuffed with cheese or something like that, and I eat them out of the package.
Oh, that sounds terrible. I don't typically eat lunch. I eat like a lot of breakfast bars and shit because it's just like, or like, you know, I deliver in like smaller towns and shit for my job. So I'm the only thing around is like there's McDonald's, there's a Casey's General Store. If you want overpriced, mediocre hamburgers and pizza, that's what they got. And there's a Taco Bell, KFC, which being in a truck where you see 2 bathrooms a day in a 10-hour day, KFC, Taco Bell is a bad idea. Let me tell you. So I usually just don't eat lunch. I eat like a few breakfast bars, and then I eat dinner. That's basically what I do. So yeah, and it helps too because it saves money, and I'm not It's probably healthier for me not to eat gas station food 5-6 days a week. But yeah, I get that though, man. It's like you get older, it's just like, I was like, I'm like, fuck yeah. Because I always like, my problem is like at nighttime I get snacky. Like it's not even like I'm hungry, because I'll eat like, especially as late as I work, like I don't eat dinner till 9 o'clock, and I'm usually going to bed about 11. So it's like I'm not even really hungry if I haven't, but I'm like, oh, like I like to have a couple snacks. You just kind of a bored thing, and like a habit thing. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, I'll buy a box of strawberry shortcake rolls, which was like my favorite snack growing up as a kid. I bought a box of these like 3 weeks ago.
Oh God.
Fuck yeah, I brought 2 with me and brought them with me into the bedroom there. I usually always like to eat them and then go to bed, which is just great for helping you sleep better. Like nice little shit ton of sugar before you go to bed. That's fucking smart, Tyler. Explains my insomnia. I ate like half of one there when I got these. And I was like, oh, and I feel like I just ate like one of those like 2-ton, like it was like the Acme anvils in like the cartoons. Like, that's what I felt like was in my stomach.
Hit in your stomach. Like, wham.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, it's just it's like Cadbury eggs is like my all-time biggest weakness. Like, and I was so excited. I mean, I would buy. I spend so much money on these fucking these Cadbury. Like it's like $5 for 4-pack. It's ridiculous how much things cost. But I fucking pay whatever they want me to pay. Like if this was a drug that was on the streets, Gables, I would be just sucking dick for Cadbury eggs.
Oh my God,
let me tell
dude.
you, it would just be the Cadbury egg wouldn't have that cream filling. It'd just be cum, and I'd be eating it. I'm like, I don't care. It's so good. This is the content you guys come to. You guys clicked on this, not me. Gables agrees to come on the show with me every week. 8 years, almost 8 years now. He hit me up today wanting to record. That's see, so that's on you. But not that we weren't going to, but he hit me up. He's the one that brought it up. But anyways, I got 2 of these 4-packs. I'm like, fuck yeah. I would sit there and I'd eat those 2 4-packs. Like 3 years ago, Tyler would have ate that all, like would ate 15, 16, bam, one sitting, no problem. And I would have hated myself, don't get me wrong. And really honestly, about number 7, I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Tyler? I feel like garbage, but I would power through the next 9. And I would still eat them. And I ate 1, and I'm just like, oh, this is terrible. Like it still tastes really good, but like my teeth hurt, and it was just shame, and it was like I felt sick. Like I have like the Cadbury egg was just right here in my throat, like just sitting there for like the next 3 days. I'm just like, I think I honestly still have 2 left sitting over there. I'm just like, I can't even do this. And I walked by him. I walked by him yesterday when I went grocery shopping. And I was like, I should probably buy another pack. I'm like, I even started grabbing one. I'm like, Tyler, you still got fucking one sitting there. I did buy a bunny though. I bought a caramel bunny sitting over there. I haven't ate it yet. I can't bring myself to do it. I used to love those things too. Easter's a bad time for me. It's like Easter is like the best candies come out in Easter time. They get the little tiny Cadbury eggs. Oh my god. Oh, fuck. I would swim in a hot tub of those fucking things, melted, and I would just be happy sitting there naked drinking it. I'd be like that fat kid in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I just get stuck in the tube because I'd be like sitting there trying to like lick it out of the little funnel thing, and my tongue gets stuck in there. That's what happened to me. Yeah. That's, I don't know where the fuck we got on that, but that's where we are now.
Junk food tangent.
Junk food tangent. Yeah. Yeah, but no, I mean I'm doing okay. It's Sunday. I was telling you for the show. It's like I was like, Sunday's my day off. I always look forward to it. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna be so productive, and it's gonna be a good day. It's getting nice out. Fuck no, it's been raining all day. It's cold outside. I'm like, Sunday's my day to clean. I didn't do shit. I fucking sat on the couch, watched YouTube all goddamn day. And do I regret it? Yep, I do regret it. Would I have done anything differently though? Probably not. If you gave me the chance to redo this day over again, nope, probably wouldn't have done anything different. Would have still sat on the couch, watch YouTube all fucking day. But no, you look forward to the day, and then like, fuck, it's my day off, and bam, no, fuck you, Tyler, you lost an hour. So that's where we are. Daylight savings time. But it was kind of interesting, Gables. We were talking before the show. We realized that today is like the 1 year, really not the 1 year of like COVID or and people going and like working from home, stuff like that. But this is like the 1 year anniversary of like where I feel like as a country is like the day it like really hit home. Where like this is the day where a couple of players on the Utah Jazz tested positive, and they just canceled the fucking season. NCAA tournament got canceled. PGA tournament got canceled. Like I think it was a Masters, one of the biggest events of the year got canceled.
Yeah, even the baseball season got canceled too.
Baseball got canceled. It got postponed to like July, but ended up being. Then it was like even WrestleMania went from being in like a 90,000 fan stadium to they wrestled in a warehouse for nobody. Like this is like I remember like it was crazy when you were talking about it. It's like I remember this like being a thing, but it was like it's like when you hear about like Mad Cow, when you hear about all these other ones, it's like you don't really like think about we'll be fine. You know, you like okay, this is bad. This is but it's like it's not gonna affect us kind of thing. It's like it's not gonna happen to us kind of thing. And it's kind of fascinating. I remember like my my now ex girlfriend at the time, but or my girlfriend at the time, but now my ex. We went to like the mall in here around here, opened up like a more like a kind of like a barcadium, like a barcade. You know, it's a bar. They had like a little restaurant and an arcade, and we went to that. And like it was like they only been open for a few weeks, and we're going to that, and like nobody's fucking there. And I remember like that was like people were talking about it and shit, but it wasn't like it didn't hit Iowa yet. And really, I mean, I know like it already hit Washington. That was first. Seattle was first place to hit it.
Sack of bricks. That's what it did.
What?
It hit the whole freaking COVID stuff and everything else hit it like a ton of bricks.
Yeah. I just remember like when we were going there, like there wasn't none of this news had broke yet. I remember we were like getting ready. We went there and we're playing the arcade game, stuff like that. You know, and I'm like, okay, this is an ordeal. Like, okay, this is bigger than I thought it'd be. Like, you know, it's hitting the West Coast, but then it was like. I just remember like sitting there like getting a beer and I'm just like, and like they have the TV screens up like on ESPN. It's just like, you're just seeing everything was canceled. I'm just like, I remember looking at my ex. I'm like, I think we should probably leave. Like, and we just fucking left and we went home. Like we were there for like an hour and a half. I'm like, this is so much bigger than I think anybody anticipated, but. I don't know. It's just crazy. It's one of those like I mentioned talking to you before the show, but it's like it's one of those things where it's like it's one of those things where you like kind of like a 9/11 thing where like I remember what I was doing when 9/11 happened, when I heard about 9/11.
Yep.
Like I was playing soccer and at middle school and gym class in 7th grade, and I remember like that's when I heard the news about 9/11, and it's like I remember where like I don't have a lot of events in my life. Like I remember like where I was or what I was doing when like. My grandpa passed away, or both my grandpas and my grandma passed away. I remember like those moments, like what I was doing, where I was, like those moments are like stuck in my brain. Like I can picture them right now, and like that's one of those handful of like half dozen life events where like, you just know, like you can forever will remember, you know that where you were in that moment. Is that right there, Lou? I thought he just puked behind me, but he did not. He's like a weird stretching. Yeah, he's fine. He just did a weird gurgling noise. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's big. Two more, but do you like is that kind of the same thing for you when it hit Gables?
When it hit initially, I was at work. I did not know about that headline until I actually checked my phone. I think it was either like during one of my breaks and stuff, or maybe it was like from a coworker that was telling me it's like. Yeah, they canceled the NBA season and like they postponed baseball and stuff. That's when I knew things were starting to become more escalated because it's like sports don't shut down their seasons unless something cataclysmic happens.
Yeah.
You know, or something big happens. And well, like I was saying before, the whole COVID-19, everything else just hit the West Coast like a ton of bricks. One of our first initial cases was inside of Washington State. I believe it was, in terms of, coming from, like, say, from China initially, a person got infected inside Washington State and just started, like, almost like a chain reaction. It wasn't as, like, overnight in that regards. I mean, there were still, like, concerns late December, but it did not really filtrate everything in terms of the West Coast and the infections in regards there until around March of last year. But it's like... Washington State hit everything on like all cylinders and stuff. Governor Jay Inslee at the time decided to go through with phase one, meaning everybody, like all the non-essential workers, pretty much, the non-essential workers, non-essential stores were pretty much closed in that retrospect. So the only thing that we could potentially do at that time, a lot of the workers at my workplace, a lot of the workers were sent home because they thought it was only going to be like maybe a 2 week thing or maybe like a week thing
Yeah.
at most. And
That's what everybody was talking about. Yeah, going for 2 weeks or a
it
month.
evolved into not only them being off for longer than that, but all of us at my workplace and at multiple different like local businesses being furloughed for like 3 months. Some lost their jobs. Some decided to move state-wise and stuff because they wanted to get something in regards to having a job once the whole thing started to settle down a bit and this and that. But yeah, it was definitely an uncertain time at that point. I remember it quite vividly because it was not even a week after I had purchased both Animal Crossing New Horizons and Doom Eternal, both of which would be heavily cemented games that I would be playing throughout that whole last year while inside of quarantine, while inside of like doing whatever I could to get in, like essential items, doing this and that. I mean, it was just basically my mom and I just going out, just doing shopping and stuff, seeing the stores bare in terms of toilet paper, in terms of paper towels, which the stores did absolutely a terrible job in limiting things because you had idiots going through and buying bulk of essential items.
I just think that no one. I mean, I just no one. It just when it hit, and it was just like everybody went. I mean, that was like this coming up this week would be the 1 year of like paper towels, toilet paper, Kleenexes, the hand wipe, sanitizer shit. Like that was like nobody just saw it coming. I don't think. And it's like they've been really. I mean, yeah, like sometimes the stock will get low at like when I'll like for like toilet paper and shit like that. I'll see, but like every store I go to, like you can only get one per person per cart group, whatever.
That was the thing where I was at up until maybe a month after.
No, it was probably like 2 weeks later when they put that in place. But like, that's just been the standard ever since like you can pretty much get. But even today, where like I'm not like I wasn't the guy going on hoarding fucking toilet paper or anything like that. Like we were very lucky to like. But I remember like I live right next to 3 grocery stores, and one of them I found out like every day around noon they got some in, and it was like the cheapest of the cheap. But I'm like, you don't care, like just having to get toilet paper. Like I was showing up like I was trying to get like the new fucking Xbox Series X or something to get this fucking toilet paper. But I was like, I wasn't like hoarding it by any sense, but like we always were okay on toilet paper. But like, yeah, it's fucking wild how crazy that got. Like, just and even today, we're like forever's changed me. We're like, I'm getting kind of low. I should probably just in case I'll buy. Like I don't need to buy some this week, but like I could probably go another week and be okay. But I'm like, just in case, you never know. Like it's still in the back of my head where I'm like, I should probably buy an extra, buy a pack. Even though I don't need one right now, but I know like next week I'm gonna need one. But next week shit might go down again, and so it's like I am forever like, not forever stocked up, but like for whoever knows how long, I will have. I'm always gonna have an extra at least a week's worth of toilet paper, possibly 2 weeks of toilet paper, in my apartment just because of that. Like it's just one of those things where it's like better safe than sorry thing because I rather have toilet. Like I couldn't imagine not having. I mean we were never at the point where we ran out. I remember like one day we got down to like a half a roll, and that's as low as we got. And I remember like getting very lucky. I went to the Quick Trip gas station right over here, and they had a 4-pack of Cottonelle, which I hate Cottonelle, but they had it. I'm like, oh fuck, and it was like $9. I'm like, I will pay it. I don't care. Like, just take my money. We have toilet paper. But yeah, I don't know. It was just kind of crazy. I remember like it's just nuts.
It's nuts though, but currently it's like a year later. We know a lot about what COVID-19 goes through.
Yeah.
Some bits of confusion in regards to some of the stuff, but there are vaccines that are more readily available, going to be available for a lot of Americans soon in the next coming months. On top of that, everything is starting to progressively get back to somewhat normal,
Yeah.
as normal can be. But at the same point, we're not freaking out or hiding in our houses for months on end and stuff, or being quintessentially like furloughed and like just axed off as much as like what it was like around a year ago.
Yeah.
Because honestly, here's the thing though. I mean, you take a chance every day when you walk out of your house, you go to work, you drive, you buy food at a retailer, or you buy whatever in that regards. Though the COVID-19 start was serious, and yes, it is still serious to an extent, I've seen firsthand a lot of people just go extremely overboard in regards to, like, in terms of not only just handling the situation in and of itself, but just going through and screwing over a lot of other people as well. I mean, what I've learned most in regards to the year in this anniversary, in regards to this COVID-19 stuff, is like, be kind to your fellow human beings.
Yeah.
Be kind to the neighbor that's right beside you. Don't go through and make things harder for everyone else just because you are so selfish enough to not go through and want to have, like, say, not share something with someone else that may need it, or you have to have this item or that item and stuff, but yeah, you're screwing this person over right here that needs, like, maybe a thing of food or something in order for them to actually make it through for the next meal. But yeah, was definitely one of those times where I will remember, like 9/11, like the initial time when I remember where I was when my mom first had her stroke, and then all of a sudden it's like this moment right recently in terms of COVID-19 and the lasting ramifications of closing the entire country down, quintessentially. But yeah.
Yeah.
But if there's one certainty of all this, we will keep moving forward. Life moves on, regardless of what happens. And of course, what do we like to do a lot in that regards? To help us move forward, we play a lot of
Cadbury eggs. Oh yeah, video games. Video games. I thought you were gonna say Cadbury eggs. I'm sorry.
Man, you got Cadbury in the brain, man.
I always do, man. I'm pretty sure my brain is like my head is just a Cadbury egg, and the inside is a delicious cream filling. At this point, my brain is just the cream filling, which I don't know what it is, but it's fantastic. And I get the little yellow in there. It looks, it's so good. Anyway, sorry.
Just dripping out the ears.
Oh, the caramel is so smooth and rich. Oh, puppy. Sorry. All right. But yes, like Gables was saying, this is a video game podcast on a Cadbury 8 COVID podcast, where we talk about video games. And I do want to mention one thing real quick before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show. If you are not watching this live right now, you can watch us live. We're on twitch.tv/Drunk podcast, Drunk Nerds podcast. Check us on there. Give us a big follow. You can watch us live. We record every Sunday night, usually around 9:30, 10 o'clock. What is it? 9:30? What time is it right there? It's like 9:30, right? Your time?
It's like 9:30 my time. Yes.
So it's usually about 9 o'clock Pacific time. Sunday nights is when we record. Sometimes we record Saturday. Sometimes we record a little later. Sometimes a little earlier. Just kind of depends. But you can check us out there live. I always put the stream up later on YouTube right afterwards. And also, Gables and I a couple weeks ago did a 3+ hour long stream of us doing the Game of the Generation list. We did our top 25 list. Part 2 I broke it up. You can watch the whole thing live on YouTube right now on youtube.com/drunknerds. But if you're just an audio listener, I broke it up over into 5 individual podcasts. Each one's coming out every Thursday morning. So part 2 just came out last week, and part 3 will be coming out this week. It's going to be coming out every Thursday for the month of March. So it works out. You're getting a full 10 episodes from us this month if you're listening to the audio versions of us, which most 99.9% of people that listen to us they listen to the audio version. They don't watch the video version, which is fine too. I don't care. But there's multiple ways to watch us if you want to. But yeah, Gables, moving on to the video game news. Kind of an eventful week, but not like a very... a lot of big things happened, but not a lot of like huge news topic. 'Cause it's something we've known about since like August, September. Bethesda is officially joined Xbox. The merger, not merger, but the Xbox purchasing Xbox or Xbox purchasing Xbox. Xbox purchasing Bethesda has finally happened. Everybody's agreed to it. Boom, it's done. They did a little round table, had some discussions about the future of kind of how the exclusivity is going to work, and they didn't really confirm anything, but they left the door open on a lot of things, but they kind of gave us some details without giving out a lot of details. Basically, what it sounds like from Phil Spencer is they're contractually obligated for some stuff. So like we already know about Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo are PlayStation exclusives for, I think it's PlayStation and PC exclusives for, I think it's a year for both of those. We don't know, some people, we don't have a confirmation if it's 6 months or a year. So we have that going on. There was the news that came out right around the time about Xbox buying Bethesda back last year, where PlayStation was in talks to having the same exclusive window for Starfield, but there's no word on. This was never officially revealed by either side, but this is just news that came out. There's no word on if they actually reached an agreement and signed a contract. So there might still be something there. Basically, what Phil said, that there is future contracts, so God knows if that means that maybe PlayStation has some stuff in mind with them, or maybe Bethesda was in works to port some more stuff to the Switch, which they, Doom Eternal came to the Switch earlier I think it was earlier this year, or late 2020. But talk about that. But then they said that basically anything that's like legacy titles or that's like, so stuff like Elder Scrolls Fallout 76 or Elder Scrolls Online Fallout 76, stuff like that will continue to still get support, much like they do with Minecraft. Like they didn't take it away from anybody. They still update, still put it on new platforms. They still get exclusive stuff. It goes to everywhere. I imagine there'd be no reason for them to only put those updates on Xbox consoles. So it sounds like to me that like if it's got like an online thing going on, or it's got like a long term things like a service game type of thing, that those will probably be cross console, Switch, and PlayStation. But for the most part, he basically says that their main priority is Bethesda games going on where places Xbox Game Pass is. So basically PC and Xbox consoles. So that's what came out of it. And then they also announced that they confirmed that there will be a summer event for Xbox. They're in the planning. They're planning for what that's going to be right now, and Bethesda's going to be a big part in that. And they also announced that there are 20 Bethesda games coming to Xbox Game Pass. They're out now. I believe as of Thursday.
Friday.
They're out now. I have the list right here. So we have both Dishonored games. So there's two. We have Doom 2, Doom 3, Doom 64, Doom Eternal, and the original Doom is already on there. Elder Scrolls 3, Morrowind, which that was the Xbox launch game, wasn't it?
Original.
Yep. All right. So
there's one fun fact about the original Xbox release of the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, and in terms of, there was some sort of trick that they did back then in order to mask loading scenes or something like that, and I think it had to do something about like transversing or something like that. The open field or something in that regards. I don't remember it clearly, but there was something that Bethesda did back then that helped cover the loading screens.
Oh, that's cool.
It's kind of unique. Well, no, that wasn't loading screens. It was restarting the Xbox. The reboot sequence, because they had to work in the inner workings of that console in order to make it seem like... I don't have 100% clear, but I knew it had something to do with the console reset. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, I'll have to look into that. But Oblivion's being added. The Skyrim Special Edition is being added. Elder Scrolls Online is on there. I don't know if that's like everything that's coming to it, because they still do like yearly updates you got to pay for. I don't know if you still have to pay monthly on top of that for it. You still got to pay the monthly subscription fee. Evil Within 1 is out there, but Evil Within 2, oddly enough, is not on there. I don't know if it's already on Game Pass or not, because
did Bethesda make Evil Within 2?
Yeah, that's Tingo GameWorks.
Oh, okay.
Yes, which is it's the Tokyo-based studio that's owned by Bethesda. But yeah, they made 1 and 2, and they're the ones doing Ghostwire Tokyo. But 2 isn't on there, but I think I don't know for sure if it's already available on there. But Excuse me, I got the burps. Fucking White Claws. Anyways, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Fallout New Vegas, Prey, the 2017-2018 game, Rage 2, Wolfenstein New Order, Wolfenstein Old Blood, Wolfenstein Young Blood, Wolfenstein 2. Is not on that list, but once again, I'm not sure if that's already on there or not. So 20 new games from Bethesda, boom, already on there. And like I said, I know Doom 2016 for a fact was already on that list.
Yep.
I mean, what's your thoughts, Gables, on this finally happening, and then kind of all the stuff added to Game Pass, and then the future of what we might see for exclusivity for Bethesda on Xbox?
Well, it's about time they did go through the initial revealing of Bethesda, joining Xbox in that regards. I know through contractual obligations they had to wait for this deal to finalize in order to speak about a lot of the curtails and the details, and I do appreciate Microsoft actually setting aside and doing this sort of an introduction of what they are doing with Bethesda in that regards. There are still some deals that are not as clear, especially when it comes to some exclusivity, like exclusive games for its system in particular. But we already know that they're still doing a lot of the different deals. Like Bethesda is already doing pre-existing contractual deals, say for like Sony for the PlayStation or for Nintendo for the Switch or whatever they want to do. I felt that dropping the initial 20 games on the Game Pass, I mean, it was expected that Bethesda would be having a huge support on Game Pass, more so than it was originally. Now, this is even adding even more great value to Game Pass. What goes off to maybe like close to $100 or so a year for that service is like, God, man, you have all the great content from Bethesda's, from dating back from like the original Xbox to the 360, and a lot of those games in the 360, they're still heavily played, especially on the PC market in regards to Fallout, in regards to Wolfenstein, the Elder Scrolls and stuff. Yeah, not just Oblivion, Skyrim, obviously, that's the big elephant in the room. But at the same time, it's like any person that wants to invest inside of a new generation console, or even want to get Game Pass on PC, not having to pay the middleman or something like that, it's like, hey, I can get this, I can play this for just a subscription cost and just enjoy it, whatever the hell it is, and now I can do like another 100+ hour save of Fallout 3 if I choose to. That mindset is going to be applying more so to people investing inside that next generation, where it's like, okay, you got Game Pass and you have PlayStation Now, both offers similar in terms of service values, but there is clearly one that's higher than the other in terms of the wealth of content. I mean, it's without question. I mean, I feel that the Game Pass right now is at that extent to where it's absolutely dumb if someone does not invest. If they own an Xbox system, like say if they own an Xbox One S, or if they own a Series X or whatsoever, you gotta get Game Pass. This is definitely going to save you a hell of a lot of money in the long run. But I was excited about that because of potential games that I may want to play on there eventually. I mean, what's kind of hilarious about it is, like, I was playing a bit of Oblivion a few weeks ago, and all of a sudden now it's on Game Pass.
Yeah.
But what can I say? I own all these games physically already.
Yeah.
As far as exclusive deals go, obviously they're going to have something in terms of Starfield. It feels like that's going to be the number one thing that's going to potentially be revealed to us over the next couple months. I do not see Starfield in and of itself being a timed exclusive first on PlayStation 5. I see it more so the game coming to PlayStation 5 through contractual stuff, but I see that it's going to be a time exclusive potentially on Series X, maybe for the first 6 months, maybe the first year, who knows. But you got to believe the next Elder Scrolls, that's probably going to be exclusive to the Series X. I'm just assuming now. The next mainline Fallout game, that's probably going to be on Series X. And maybe potential Wolfenstein 3, yeah, that potentially could be a Series X exclusive.
God, let me just kill Hitler.
Those three franchises, those huge franchises that Bethesda have, those future games, it's strongly looking like these could be exclusives for the Series X and S. So I'm liking that idea, as long as It's not rushed as long as they're not like steps in the wrong direction in regards of a lot of the substantial oh god, like this is like a substantial mix in quality in some of the last game releases of the franchises. But
Yeah.
at least with Bethesda, they now have help from Microsoft in regards to any type of support, any type of like creative stuff that they need help with. There's now actually a large plethora of knowledge and finances involved in order to help them produce the games that they want to go through and create now, which that in and of itself, I feel at the end of the day is the best major thing that we could hope for, is having more potential in making fantastic games in the future. And so this partnership between Microsoft and Bethesda, it was unheard of, this big old deal, because this is like the equivalent of back in the day Nintendo maybe purchasing a Capcom or a Sega
Yeah.
back then, like maybe in the 2000s or the 90s or whatever the hell. But just the magnitude of this partnership right now and how influential the franchises that Bethesda holds now being finalized, now things are in place to where now you can play back content, and then the future of it, this is going to be the best start for an Xbox generation for a long while, actually, since maybe the 360. But the difference in this generation, obviously barring the pandemic and everything else, it feels like every company it feels all of them are level.
Yeah.
It feels like no one is extremely higher than the other one. It feels like they're all on neutral ground. They're all doing their separate things that are working for them and being successful with it. That's how it's felt like to me, and I feel like with this most recent acquisition Microsoft has done, it even brings even more value to it. And it's kind of like an old saying, competition breeds better terms of products between competitors, So I really enjoyed what went on the first 15 minutes and stuff. Obviously, I only watched the first 15 minutes of the actual conference itself because it was probably a lot of fluff.
Yeah, it was like 2 hours long. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I didn't watch. I didn't. I honestly didn't. I think I watched like 2-3 minutes of it. I just kind of read the cliff notes and later on, because like once I heard they said they weren't announcing anything, so I'm like, okay, I'll just hear about it later. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much agree with you on everything. It's like it's awesome. That, yeah, like they're on kind of like as far as like exclusive titles or everybody's equal footing. It's kind of sucks that they had to buy Bethesda to give them on that level instead of when you look at PlayStation, Nintendo, they made those games themselves to put them on those pedestals. But yeah, I'm happy. I mean, like, do I love the idea of bigger companies buying smaller companies and merging them into theirs? No, sure. I mean, not so much. We can get, that's a whole different discussion about corporate America. But I look at like the longevity of Bethesda and some of the stuff where it sounds like Bethesda was going more of like the big AAA stuff, leaning more towards like the stuff that sells. Where like, you mentioned about how the last few years has been great for Bethesda. Where like Youngblood, Wolfenstein Youngblood came out. They had the Wolfenstein the really bad Wolfenstein VR game come out. Fallout 76 was a big fucking
that was a bad launch.
One. They did the monthly thing you can buy for Fallout 76 when the game was still fucking busted. On top of that, and they, as they're delaying content, announcing that, hey, you want to pay us $10 a fucking month for this, which is ridiculous. But it was just one big bungle after another on that. And even like Doom Eternal came out, and it's like, yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit, but I feel like a lot of people were I think 2016 Doom was so great that I mean, as good as it didn't live up to the standards that I think a lot of people were hoping it would. But anyways, yeah, I love this because I was talking about they're so focused on the next big like AAA titles. Like you see so many like they talk about movies. I mentioned this on the podcast before. Like movies where a lot of bigger film studios have they've given up on those smaller $20-30 million budget movies that are going to make $100 million in box office. They want the good and bad. Like as much as I love Marvel and I got my kind of funny Marvel shirt on. But you know, as much as I love the Marvel movies and so many people love Marvel movies, it's like it's kind of it's changed the film industry where everybody's like, look at well, fucking every movie they put out makes $1 billion fucking dollars in theaters. It's like now we want to do that. Like everybody just like they go for like, all right, we're gonna do these $200 million budget movies and hope and depend on it to make $1 billion. Where it's like, no, not everybody can do that. You know, it's like you see all these the movies that had 5, 10, 15, 20, $30 million budgets that would make you a good chunk of profit, but chump change compared to what Marvel movies were doing and some other movies were doing. As Avatar this week passed Endgame as far as the most money ever in a box office. They got like $2.9 billion or something.
Wow.
It got released in China and they passed them. But anyways, we've seen that kind of that middle tier, that smaller tier of like movies that had like a bigger budget behind it, as far as like you had a bigger studio behind you, and it was so you're gonna have a good support behind you to do it, but like you're not gonna like that AA kind of era, which we've seen die off a lot in just video games this generation in general. But Bethesda is very much like they have AAA, but they also were probably the best at the AA games. Like, I mean, we love Doom, we love Wolfenstein. I love Evil Within. A lot of people, a good chunk of people love Evil Within. Those are probably the more AA tier. They're not quite AAA, but they're upper tier AA, kind of games. It's like when I was seeing Ghostwire Tokyo, no Evil Within 3. Like, I feel like now isn't so crazy. Like, I thought Evil Within 1, that franchise is probably dead, and it's like now I'm like, I hear other people talk about where it's like, this seems plausible that we might see Evil Within 3. We might see more Wolfenstein spin-off games possibly, or more Doom games, because we've talked about in the past, like I've talked about before, like where you see like Doom Eternal and Wolfenstein 2 would pop up on the MPDs when we do the MPDs every month. It's like, oh cool, it's in there, but it's like in the teens or the bottom of the top 10, and then the next month it's maybe in the top 20, bottom of the top 20, and then you never see it's gone. It's just out of the top 20 a month later. And it's like, so those games, there's an audience behind them, but it's not a big audience. And those games aren't, They don't make, they might make tens of millions, but they don't make hundreds of millions. Like you see like a Skyrim, it gets ported everything because it fucking sells wherever it goes. Like that gives me hope for like the future of now they could take chances again. Now they can, because I think that's what you see in Bethesda this generation. Like, yeah, people love Elder Scrolls, they love Fallout. Those games are always going to do well, unless you're 76. People are going to love them. They're going to have their audience, but it's like, I think what kind of endeared people to them more was this last generation of like, they brought Doom back and it fucking worked. They brought Wolfenstein back and it fucking worked.
Yes, they did.
You see, like, you're taking out, you're doing like, you're bringing out these like smaller Wolfenstein games like Old Blood, or we're seeing Tango Gameworks with Evil Within. Like, we're seeing these smaller titles and they're great, and they don't, are they the biggest audience? No, but they're people love them, and they get good reviews, they get good publicity for them. Like, that's the thing that kind of brought them up to the next tier. The next tier, not for, I hit my mic there, sorry, but they were one of like they're one of like 3 third-party developers at that point that actually did a E3 show, whereas like Ubisoft and EA did one, and then but Bethesda did one, and like it's some of their fucking events they did were awesome. I mean there was some filler in there with the Elder Scrolls Online, like there's the Elder Scrolls mobile game they did. Every fucking show has that, but it's like, man, we were like some of those, like those are like some of those fun events, because they were like, you're gamers, you're here to have fun, we're here to have fun too. They did a fucking carnival one year after E3 presentation.
That's true.
So yeah, it gives me hope, but I love like that they officially Xbox officially owned them on March 9th, and on March 12th they just put every fucking Bethesda game that ever came to consoles on Game Pass. Like, that's awesome. That's incredible. Nintendo, you have 30 years of fucking 35 years of fucking excellent content that we bitch about constantly about. Like, why can't we play these goddamn games? Give it, like, where's Pokemon Snap? Where's fucking Smash? Where's Mario Kart 64? Where's all these awesome games? Where's fucking Earthbound 1, 2, and 3? Where the fuck are they at? And it's like, for decades, years, we bitch about like how they do this, and like their slow rollout of games, and like I see the monthly updates they put on YouTube. Like, here's 2 new games coming to Nintendo Switch Online this month. It's like,
and they're mostly niche stuff that we've never
stuff
even heard of.
No one ever heard of, and they were bad games when they came out back then, and like these games are really bad now. And it's like they're just we don't get me wrong, like I would argue that the top games on Super Nintendo and Nintendo maybe are better games than some of these games that they put on this list. I don't know. That's a different argument for a different day. I wouldn't personally agree with that, but I would feel like there's a good chunk of people that would argue that case. But there's so many other games that they can give us, and so much back catalog of great fucking games. These are just games that Bethesda put out this last fucking generation. I mean, not all of them. There's some Xbox games there, but 17 out of these fucking 20 games were games they put out in the last decade.
Yep.
That they're putting on Game Pass. And it's like Nintendo's got 35 years of great fucking games, and they've got like only like half of them they've given us. And there's like, and it's only the first two fucking consoles. Well, you guys got like
argue not even half.
Yeah. But I mean, like, not even all the best games from those two consoles that they've given us are on there. And like, you still got what 4 or 5 other fucking, I guess they keep porting on the Wii U games, but like, you got 4 other fucking consoles of great games. You got 5 fucking handhelds of great games, and you ain't giving it to us. And the Switch has been out for over 4 years now. What the fuck? But anyway, when I heard that news, that's immediately what I thought about. Like, fucking Microsoft, you've owned this company for 2 fucking days, and you're like, hey, here's fucking everything from these guys for the last 15 fucking years. It's like, god damn. But yeah, I don't know. I just, just trying to look at it like glass half full kind of case, like scenario where I was like, yeah, this is. I mean, it sucks. Like, do I like, for a lot of gamers where it's like maybe you're a Switch guy, or maybe you're a PlayStation guy, and like you're only planning on buying one. Maybe you're just like, a lot of people like you always talk about, like there was the what was it, the Wii 360 people were like, they owned a Wii and they owned a 360. Then like there's a thing, there's like people with the Switch and the PS4. And maybe there's a lot of people that are planning on just being Switch PS5 people. And there's a lot of great games. And maybe the people that just they love whatever the fuck the next Fallout game or the next Elder Scrolls game is gonna be. Now it's gonna be on there exclusively. That suck, yes. But I mean, that's smart for them. I mean, like I said, like now they're all on equal footings. Now they have like a plethora of games that come out. And like going to the summer event here that they're talking about, like if they have an E3 style thing, this summer, like we complain every year about, the biggest complaints we have about Bethesda is there's so much shit in the middle. Like they pack a punch. They have 3-4 big hitters every time they would do one. But then like there'd be like those lulls in the middle. Like I said, they have the Elder Scrolls Online shit. They have the card games. They have the mobile games. They always had like fill in the rest of shit. Because I mean, I understand there's an audience before it, but it's like the vast majority we're here for the big shit. And you like Microsoft every year goes into it. We're gonna have the most games ever at E3 press conference for games announced, or most exclusives ever, or like, and they get there like first console launch exclusive, or world premiere, or console exclusive. They have like 9 different tiers of what just like to say they're exclusive. It's like first launch on exclusive console made in America, or made this in 2017, or like they'd always find workarounds like it's exclusive because of this reason. And but they like, we have 70 games we're gonna talk about, and then they would talk about it. It's like, okay, cool. I don't remember any of the fucking things they talked about. It's just like 2 hours of boom boom boom, here's shit you don't care about, 25 games put into a little fucking 30-second music thing with a bunch of indie games. It's like they never had that big pack a punch. Like they have like a they have some cool shit here and there, but there's a lot of years where like not a lot was shown off. Like the big thing they had was Ori, which no disrespect to Ori, it's not that Ori's not setting the world on fire for people. It's like now you're gonna add Bethesda, where they packed a punch, and the middle parts is where they suffered. It's like you combine those together with Halo, with Gears, Forza, and then all like there's some impressive games they'd show off in those, but like I said, there were so many that you would just lose track of all of them. Like if you can, instead of having 70 games, have 20 games, and like we have 4 or 5 big games and then 15 smaller games, fan-fucking-tastic. And there's a rumor of a March 26th event for Xbox, which is everybody's saying. Really? Sorry, I was someone's walking through the hallway. But like everybody's saying, don't like Starfield's not gonna be there. The big games aren't gonna be there. But I'm like, I was thinking like, oh, it'd be awesome. Like all those smaller games that they show off that we don't, like almost like an Indies event. Like I love that like Nintendo does the little Indies events where like it's like, hey, here's all these smaller games that like that you wouldn't know about if it wasn't for this. And, like that's awesome. Like that they do that so these games stand out. Like there's so many games that come out because of this. There was the I just forgot the name of it. It was my number 3 game of last year. The game with the animals on the islands, like get all the feathers. Let me pull up my Game of the Year book here.
Go
Sorry, give me
with
2
feathers.
seconds. I am finding it. A Short Hike
Oh, there
is
you
what I
go.
was thinking of. Like that was shown off at that event, and I wouldn't have known about it if it wasn't for that. So I think about that, and like stuff like that would be awesome to show off. And it's just like pimping out more Game Pass content. Like the smaller games are coming to Game Pass to give it a time to shine kind of stuff. I hope that's the case. But yeah, I don't know. I'm being glass half full. I'm excited for the future of Bethesda, and then also this kind of fast tracks like the thing we talk about all the time with Xbox, where it's like they buy all the studios, but like where are the games? And they never have the games. It, like this kind of fast tracks that where like Bethesda's got a lot of games probably in the pipeline there. Unfortunately, the 2 big ones that we know about are PlayStation exclusives this year, but they probably Xbox has said that before even Bethesda was purchased that they have exclusive games, unannounced exclusive games for this year. So, and then who knows? And on top of that, with Bethesda, who knows? But Gables moving on here to some more announcement here. So Square Enix is announcing an event called the Square Enix Presents. It's a new event show. It sounds like this is going to be not a one-time thing, but who knows if it's going to be a quarterly thing or something like that. But they come out and they talked about it here. So it's going to be a Nintendo Direct style event. It's going to be 10 a.m. Pacific time on March 18th. So I believe that is Thursday. Yes, it's Thursday. And they came out, which I like this a lot, that they said it's going to be 40 minutes, and it's going to be updates on games that are already out, and then promises news on following projects. And they gave a list of the games they're going to focus on. So Outriders, which is the live service game that's coming on April 1st. So kind of a last big push for that. Balan Wonderworld, which is that game is famous right now because of how bad that demo is. There's going to be a Tomb Raider update, but Xbox already leaked that there's a Tomb Raider trilogy coming on March 18th. They're basically going to shadow drop the Tomb Raider trilogy, not the older ones, but the previous ones. The Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider. They're doing a trilogy pack that you can get for that.
Nice.
There's going to be an update on Marvel's Avengers because on March 18th, the PS5, Xbox Series X update rolls out for that. So you have the next gen updates. And then I think Hawkeye and a bunch of other stuff is going to come to that. Then we talked about last week the XP changes is that day as well. Update on a Just Cause mobile game, which I don't know if that's a real thing or not. New mobile game from Square Enix Montreal, and then a whimsical is what they said here. Games from Square Enix subsidiary Taito, and they also announced that they are revealing the next Life is Strange game, Life is Strange 3, which is not being made by Don't Nod. We don't know who. I don't think we actually know who's developing it. The Life is Strange Twitter account's been kind of teasing it, but we don't like you can see the back of the main character in this one. I don't know, Gables. What's your thoughts on here about a Square Enix event? What's your hopes for it?
Well, my hopes for it is an introduction of maybe more of a clarification of is Balan Wonderland actually worthwhile to play in that regards? No. Because
$60, no.
No. From what I've been seeing initially from the footage and also the reactions from people from that demo, that it's not looking fairly good in that regards. But what I'm hoping for is seeing the content for say Marvel's Avengers actually being decent as well, potentially, because it's they need there's a lot of things they got to do in order to fix that game that will even make people remotely interested in wanting to play it, because they're losing users pretty much daily in that regards. It feels like there's hardly anybody that wants to go online to play that game because of the live service aspects of it. They just increase the amount of time you're going to grind to get to the next possible, not only just the next possible level, but actually go through and get to the end game and stuff. They need to at least fix the end game to where people will want to stick around with it.
Yeah, they nailed end game the movie, but not end game the game.
Yep, very true. I'm excited in regards to the whole Tomb Raider trilogy, that being on the 18th in that regards. I mean, that's fine. I mean, hell, I was kind of expecting a trilogy of that series to come out eventually, but I'm glad that it is coming out fairly soon. That way, those that have not tried those games out yet, either on the PS4 or on the Xbox One or whatever the hell, get a chance to get it inside of 1 month for a good price. Hopefully, there's probably going to be sales on those games on the digital services because there's always sales on those 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's always sales.
They're
on
always
those
like
3
$10
games.
or less.
Oh yeah, if you don't have them now, I mean, here's a whole chunk of them right there.
Yeah. I think this year is like the 25th anniversary or something, so that's probably why they're doing
Yes,
it.
of Tomb Raider, I believe it is. But yeah, I'm just expecting at least something decent that's going to be introduced that I'm going to want to play. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of the same boat. We talk about all the time. Where like, I like the fact that they're setting like the standards of like this is what this is. I love it when when people are very honest with it. And it kind of sucks. Like Nintendo will tell us sometimes, and they're honest, but they lie so many times that we don't believe them. So it's like they've kind of destroyed any standard of like what to expect from them because like
Yep.
we're only going to talk about this, but except for these 10 examples, we're only going to talk about these things. I hope I love it if they like showed off some like Final Fantasy VII Remake 2 or something like that. I love that. But I don't expect. I mean, obviously that's not a fucking chance in hell. But I'd almost rather them like stick to what they're saying, just so I know like they set the standard of like, cool, what they say is going to be there, what's going to be there. Maybe you'll hear a couple other things unannounced in there, but I'm not expecting anything substantial. I am hopeful of like what Life is Strange 3 will be, and I'm curious, like because this isn't Don't Nod. Life is Strange 1 is one of my favorite games of all time. I literally have a book on my shelf over here. I bought the art book for it, which is really cool. It's a yearbook thing, it's awesome. But anyways, like I love Life is Strange 1. I love the characters. And Chloe, actually, yesterday was Max's, who was the character he played as Life is Strange 1. Yesterday was her birthday, because they mentioned her birthday in the game, so like yesterday was her birthday. And then Deck 9 Made Before the Storm, which was like the prequel to Life is Strange, which I think was personally I have enjoyed more than Life is Strange, the main game. And then Life is Strange 2 came out, and I thought it was fine. I talked about it in 2019, but like my biggest issue with that was that, and I looked this up just to be sure, but my biggest complaint about that game back then was, and this is my biggest issue with like Telltale games, anything, was like how far apart the episodes were. There's 5 episodes, and Telltale was always the worst about. Like you wouldn't know. Sometimes it'd be a month, sometimes it'd be 3 months. You wouldn't. There'd be very little updates in between about when the next episode's coming out. I looked it up. So the first episode of Life is Strange 2 came out in September 2018. The last episode, episode 5, came out in December 2019.
Damn.
15 months we went to get 5. So every 3 months, basically, we got an episode. That is way too long. Like, I understand there's a lot of work goes into them, but the Don't Nod released the Tell Me Why games that came to Game Pass last year, which I played the first episode. I enjoyed it. I just never went back to it, but it was okay. It wasn't my favorite. But then I also talk about I was burnt out on those, but it's been a while. The plan is maybe I should go back to it while I still have Game Pass. But anyways, my big hope is that like they, Life is Strange 3. I'd love it if Deck 9 is making this, to people like me Before the Storm, the prequel to Life is Strange 1. Since Don't Nod isn't working on this, I just give me like whenever they announce it, whatever it's going to be. Like there's rumors that it's going to be because they're gonna, like the Life is Strange games, like the main character always has some sort of powers. At the first game, it was they can rewind time a little bit. The second one was is that
Telepathy.
Telepathic, whatever. Basically, they can move shit with their mind, like a fucking Professor Xavier. And then this one is mind reading, is the rumor for Life is Strange 3, which would be interesting how that's going to work in a game like this. But yeah, I don't know. I'm hopeful, and I hope they have a good release date and a good release window. I've been bitching about it for since really like Telltale Walking Dead was the only one that really nailed it and did a really awesome job. Where every month, every 4 weeks we got a new episode, and they nailed it for 5 episodes. We got a new one every fucking week, or every month. I'm sorry. And I would just love it if they announce this and say it's soon. I think they said they're planning on it coming out this year, or starting to come out this year. If it's not going to be all one thing, which I would actually prefer, but if that's not the case, they have a release schedule, which actually Life is Strange 2 had a release schedule. They announced it, and then it was still gonna be like 10 months, but then delays and shit, it got pushed out to 15 months. It just fucking be done with it or almost done with it by the time you fucking start releasing these games. That's my biggest thing with it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm hopeful. I mean, whatever. I mean, my big thing, like I said, I'm looking forward to Life is Strange 3, and I'm super excited to hear more Balan Underworld or Wonderworld, because that game is awful. I want to play the demo. I heard that. I guess every button in that game is just a jump button. Yeah. Just look it up, Gables. Just look it up. Or actually download it. The demo is on everything. Just fucking play it. That should be our homework. That's gonna be our homework this week. You and I are both gonna play the demo.
Okay.
All right. Handshake agreement.
All right. And there we go.
There we go. I don't know why you grip my hand like that, but whatever. We're gonna download it and we're gonna play it, and then we'll report back next week. But anyways, moving on to our next topic here. This will probably be our final topic here because we're a little long. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is getting a retro beat 'em up game, a new retro beat 'em up game called Shredder's Revenge, coming later this year. No release window other than 2021. So this is going to be 30 years after. It's going to be a kind of like a sequel to the Turtle in Times. Like I said, it's called Shredder's Revenge. It's made by, the publisher is Dotemu, and it's being developed by Tribute Games, which when I was looking up to them, they have a pretty good background of games here. I want to try to figure out. So let me read this article here, and then I'll try. If they don't mention it, I'll try to figure out what they worked on before. But Shredder's Revenge is a 4-player co-op beat 'em up in the classic Konami style. That is the style of brawler that sucked quarters out of anyone who played 1989's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the sequel Turtles in Time. Presumably, Shredder's Revenge will offer a gameplay experience tailored for home for not draining your allowance. As seen in the debut trailer, Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, Donatello will take on classic enemies like the Foot Clan, Bebop, Rocksteady, and their new side-scrolling adventure. The trailer also teases the appearance of other old friends and foes, all to the tune of the classic animated series theme song, which was fucking awesome. Matt Patton from Faith No More and Mr. Bungle is the one that sung that fucking theme song. I had no idea. Wow. That blew my mind. My mind is blown. I had no idea. That's fucking awesome. Here it is. So it's being developed by Montreal-based Tribute Games. Two of the founders of that studio previously worked on Scott Pilgrim from Crystal's World, which you talked about previously, and TMNT, the bad, is that the bad one? Oh no, it's the Game Boy Advance version they worked on. I was thinking of the one that came to consoles. That was like the 360 game. That was terrible. They also worked on Panzer Paladin, Flint Hook, Wizorb, and Mercenary Kings. In other words, it's a far more promising prospect than the Platinum Turtles game that we got, which I remember Justin and I were very excited for that, and it was fucking terrible. The publisher of this game also previously published Street Rage 4, Windjammers 2, and Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap. So pretty good background of games that these guys have worked on. I love the art style where it's like it's just an HD 16-bit, which I'm all for. Like, it's like we talked about when we did our Game of the Year's list at the end of the year last year, where like we both had Battletoads and we both had Street Rage 4 on that list, and it's just like they fucking nailed that early 90s, late 80s arcade beat 'em up style. Where like it's just an HD 16 8-bit fucking version of what we loved as kids, and they just did a good job of it. Like that's a franchise. That's a game. What's the word I'm looking for? But it's not a franchise, but that's a tier of gaming where like it seems so easy that we should just have a plethora of fucking excellent ones. We should just be overwhelmed by how many good side scroller beat 'em ups that we have, and for a long period of time, we don't see any at all, or we might see one here or there. So
we got very few beat 'em ups over the span of the last 20 years, I would like to say.
Yeah.
There were some that were sprinkled.
The Castle Crashers.
But yeah, Castle Crashers being one of the few that actually shined in that period of time. But in this decade has been the resurgence of beat 'em up games. Hell, the re-release of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, you had Battletoads, you had freaking Streets of Rage 4. Played through all three of them. I've beaten all three of them. Turtles reshelled, like just Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like Shredder's Revenge. The moment I saw that trailer, the moment I saw the gameplay and stuff, I was in, dude. I was in. Because this is my type of game and stuff. Because it's like, I remember growing up playing the Turtles game inside the arcades. I mean, hell, I used to go to a freaking pizzeria and stuff like that and play that game on the machine, on the freaking machine, put it in my quarters and stuff. I was like maybe 5 at the time. I loved that game because it was so close to looking to the fucking show in and of itself. I played through that. I played through Hyperstone Heist. I played through like the actual 1989 game when it came onto the arcade, when it came onto Xbox Live Arcade.
Yeah, that's where I played it at. Yeah.
I know I played that, and it was such a trip back then because it's like I finally had a chance to play through the entirety of that game I played as a kid. But everything else in regards to this trailer, from the look of the turtles, the gameplay, the selectable characters, and it seems like it's of that same quality, like that same fun quality, and like that terms of like replayability as even some of the games from back in the 90s. I mean, that's very exciting. Hell, man, I would be game if we had like 4 people actually go through and just blaze through that entire game, dude.
Oh yeah, I hope it's on. They didn't say if it's online or not. I hope it is, because I think Street Race 4 it did have online.
Oh yeah.
So it gives me hope that this will have it, because Scott Pilgrim also does as well. So
that's a standard thing you need to have inside of a game like this.
Well, it's like Battletoads didn't have online, so that's the only thing I'm thinking of. Like,
well, that's an odd one out though.
Yeah, but yeah, this is a game I for sure, like, when that comes out, that's gonna be a day one buy, I think, for both of us, and for sure that's gonna be a game. Like, I feel like this could be a good co-op year for us, Gables, where we got It Takes Two coming out here in a couple weeks, and we got TMNT here coming out sometime this year. I'm hoping it's like be awesome. If it comes out in summer, that'd be fucking perfect. That's a good summer game right there, like a good weekend, like sit down. It'd be awesome too if they fucking find a way to like re-release the older ones with some online multiplayer. So remember,
that'd be pretty fun.
I remember, I think I beat the 3 on the Xbox Live Arcade. I beat the original one, I believe, in co-op mode with a buddy of mine. I just fucking got my ass whooped the entire time, and like he's older than me, so like he grew up kind of the same thing, where like he was playing it in the arcade, he played it on the Nintendo, like he all that, like he just fucking wrecked everybody, and like, all right, cool. I just rode his coattails through the fucking game, kind of thing. Kind of rode the coat. I ride the coattail in this podcast of you, so. Same idea. I'm just riding people's coattails. So when I saw this, like when I first heard about it, I'm like, okay, whatever. And then I saw the trailer when I got home. I'm like, oh my, yeah, okay. And it's like, I grew up a huge TMNT fan. It's funny, my mom has told me this story 100 times and tells everybody about me when I was a kid, like before preschool. Like for every day for like a month, I would only wear a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles t-shirt. And every night when I go to bed, she'd have to wash it for me, so that when I woke up the next day, I had it. And like I was like 3-4 years old, and like I would, like, that's how big of it. Like growing up watching. I mean, I've seen the first 2 movies 100 times easily each. I still randomly quote Raphael when he's running down the street when after Casey Jones calls him a freak. He's like, freak, and he's chasing him, and he's like, damn. I still quote that to this day. Justin is the only person I know that gets that joke. Now you. But I would quote it, and like Justin he was the only person I know that like he would laugh at it. He's like, I get it, because he grew up loving that movie too. Now I just want to watch fucking movies. God damn.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, I'm gonna see if they're on anything streaming.
I just recently got the movies too.
Jelly. I need to watch the third one, because I remember even as a kid, I watched it only like probably 10 times. I did watch
the third one. It was okay, but it was not as fun watching as like the first, and especially the second one. I love the second one, barring
Super Shredder.
Ice, but still.
Yeah.
I actually watched the second one a lot.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, as a kid, I loved the second one more than the first one. But I remember when I was like older, like a teenager, and I was watching, I'm like, no, the first one's better than 2. 2's better. It's a better kids movie. 1's a better movie. But I just remember at the beginning when they go downstairs and they're fighting the guys in the fucking store. Oh my god, it's so good. The movies are so much better than they deserve to be. And then 3 they go back in time. It's fucking weird. Man, I hope this is as good as, if it's as good as Battletoads or Street Race 4, it's gonna be incredible. This will be one of those games that's for sure might be the only game that's on both of our top 10s list next year, as was last year, where the only 2 games on our list were beat 'em up games. So, I'm excited. But moving on, Gables, to some we've been playing this last week. I haven't been playing much, if anything, to be honest. I've been in that weird stage still. I'm just waiting for shit to come out. We've been in a dead zone for a while. I did. They had South Park Fractured Butthole on sale for $10 on PSN. So I it's funny. I bought the like the gold edition or whatever on the physically years ago when it came out, and it came with like the season pass. But I never played any of the DLC. I remember playing it, and it unfortunately came out like I remember it came out like it was like 10 days before Mario Odyssey, Wolfenstein 2, and Assassin's Creed Origins. Thank you. It came out 10 days before that, so I was in a hurry and I beat that game. And plus, I wasn't like loving it as much. But I'm like, I remember I was trying to beat that before, in that like basically a week stretch before those 3 games came out. So I'm like, I remember like I was kind of looking at my game of the generation list when we did that list a couple weeks ago, and I was kind of looking. I'm like, I don't even think that South Park Fractured Butthole even came up on my list. And I'm like, man, maybe I was like thinking, I'm like, man, maybe I just didn't give it a fair chance. I remember I didn't even do like a lot of the side content. I just kind of flew through the main story. So I went ahead and because I sold my physical copy a while back, I went ahead and just rebought it digitally, and I'm gonna play through. I'm gonna replay it. I only played the first hour and a half, so it's all introduction shit. But I want to replay through the main game, really explore everything, and then also do the DLC this time, because they actually go to Casa Bonita, which is one of my favorite episodes of the show ever. When Cartman kidnaps Butters and tell him it's the end of the world, so he can go to the Casa Bonita instead of Butters. So yeah, I'm looking forward to just checking out the DLC and see if the game clicks a little better this time. But that's all I've done. Like I said, I played the first hour and a half. Well, Gables, you said you 15 years in the making. You beat a game. Tell me about it.
Right. I beat Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, okay, nice.
All right. So the funniest thing about this was the fact that initially, I checked out my trophy list from when I first started this game. I started around the time, also ties in a little bit to the year anniversary that I bought my PlayStation 4 Pro. So I know I've had that now for over a year, give or take. But what was kind of funny is when I was testing the PlayStation 4 Pro initially, I downloaded Shadow of the Colossus, and I beat like the first couple of Colossi, and I did not turn back because I was distracted by other games at the time. Once I had finished Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, I went through and I wanted to try to play something different, and I was trying to test things out. I downloaded Shadow of the Colossus, and I just started progressively, almost like for a span of the last couple weeks, start playing little bits of it inside the morning, see if I can go through and get past certain Colossi. But like to be expected, the first 7 to 9 Colossi were easier for me because I've already done it before. But every time that I'd go through and I beat a Colossi and stuff and go through a trek for another Colossi, it just felt like it felt interesting, because it's like the first couple times that you play the game and you go to meet a Colossi and have a battle with it and stuff, each battle becomes much more epic and becomes much more interesting in that regards, because no one battle is really the same with these Colossi. It's like you'll have the super simple one to start off with, and it kind of feels like they progressively get harder until you get towards the end portion of the game. So, of note, the ones that I got stuck on back in the day, back when I first played this game on the PlayStation 2, when I bought it for discount, it was the one Colossi that was sort of like a sand serpent, where you would go into this cave, you would have to try to beat this Colossi because it would be going in and out of the sand, right? And it was just like sliding across, and if you were on your horse and stuff, it'll start chasing behind you. Mm-hmm. It took me a long time to realize that if I looked back and I like cock back my bow, if I shot its eyes, it would actually go out of control and just crash into the wall. And then I can go up to it and then grab the bush portions and just stab the weak point of it. I only discovered that maybe a few years ago because I had given that game so much of a rest. I tried progressing so much until randomly I did it during that time. But it also led me to the next Colossi, which I couldn't really progress past because I didn't know, and that was the smaller Colossi that was more like almost like a goat, almost like a ram that you're also in like the center, the bottom, like almost like a inside this temple, right?
Yeah.
Where you have these 4 statues, you have to get this flame, this torch. And the thing about the torch is you have to climb up on one of these little things, get the torch because the Colossi is supposed to ram into it, right? And then that gives you the torch. So you pick that up, you get the Colossi towards the end of the cliff, right? And you have to hit it like a couple times so you can try to coax it over the end. It falls back, it breaks off its back armor, and then all of a sudden you can go down, climb up on its back, and stab its point repeatedly and stuff. And it felt like to me, with each Colossi battle, it started becoming much more violent and much more intricate in regards to how you took down these Colossi and how you can go through this and that. Man, there were some epic battles. That's the one consistency I've loved about Shadow of the Colossus all these years. It's like how epic the battles were, how much everything put in perspective, the whole scenery, the whole landscapes, the whole traveling across this forbidden land you're not supposed to be in and stuff like that, and then just simply just murdering this thing because you want to get your girlfriend back to life, quintessentially. What was interesting was I finally got towards the end portion of this game, where it's like it's building up. I managed to get out the 15th Colossi, which, oh my gosh, it took a bit of time to get used to this one because you had to have him stomp on the stone slab so it'll propel you up, and you have to climb all the way to a specific portion of this bridge, right? And it was like a bridge overlooking the thing, and you had to get him to smash the bridge and stuff, because by having him do that, you're supposed to somehow avoid him hitting the bridge, go through, jump on the top of him, and then all of a sudden just try to climb and try to get after his weak points. And the thing about it is, you'll find 2 of his weak points, and all of a sudden it starts evolving into okay, I gotta do something else now in regards to get him finally over, And so once I figured that one out, the final Colossi, man, the final Colossi was an epic battle because he's basically chained to the ground, and you have to scale him. He's like a gigantic tower that you have to scale, but you have to dodge his fireballs, and you have to go through these trenches in order to try to zoom around him. On top of that, I died a couple times because these fireballs, he would freaking get me to a specific point where I wouldn't think he would be getting me. First time I entered into this boss battle, I go a little bit out of the range, towards his range. He shot a fireball and just killed me right there. And then really the third time of me trying to go through, I'm like, oh, God damn it, come on, let me get further than this. And so I started going further and further. Finally got to his feet, started climbing up on him, and what's kind of interesting to note, it's you'll see the weak point on his back, or something that's discolored on his back, and so you go through, you stab his back, and he's supposed, what's interesting about this boss battle, he reaches back with his hairy palm, right, and so you can actually climb, grab onto his palm, climb onto his arm, stab his arm, and all of a sudden it's supposed to have the other arm or whatsoever, and so basically you're just bouncing back and forth between his arms and stuff just to get on top of the back of his head in order to try to stab his weak point and stuff. But among all this, just the epicness, the scale of finally trying to master this battle, because it took me, I kid you not, 10 minutes, maybe 10 or 15, in order to try to beat this boss. I kept on falling off the damn boss's head and stuff, and I kept on moving. The damn guy would not know when to stop moving. Oh, and then the ending of this game, there's that brief moment and stuff where you finally got everything, but all of a sudden it's all of the essence of all the Colossi merge into one, and you form this gigantic, almost demonic creature in that regards. And so all of those things just to go through and reanimate your girlfriend. And it's the thing about it is yes, he accomplished the main character accomplished what he wanted to do, which was resurrect his girlfriend. But it's a tragic tale because it ends like with him and his horse, which you think is dead at this point because the horse falls off a fucking cliff.
Yeah.
But that was one of the more like bittersweet like endings inside of a game that I could ever remember. Honestly, I mean, there's sad endings to game, and then all of a sad endings to a game, and all of a sudden you go through with that initial adventure to where they don't speak hardly anything in regards to the setting of the story or any type of who these characters are, or all you know is it's like there's this figure up above that wants you to go forth and kill these colossi, which you find out is actually like this like essence, this evil essence that wants you to try to kill these colossi so that you can get parts of him that were separated from like there were 16, because these monks, these holy monks or something, separated this gigantic creature into 16 different colossi in order to try to like separate his powers and stuff like that, and all of a sudden you resurrecting him in that regards, and you actually gaining the ability. No, the instance you're actually controlling this big old freaking thing, just annihilating these dudes, these monks and stuff like that. That was pretty cool. I liked that aspect. But what's interesting, it's like the end of it. I can see how it ties into another one of like Studio Japan's games like previously, because it has to deal with the horned boy.
Yeah.
And like the whole reanimation of the girl. His girlfriend from the Shadow Colossus finding this child and it has horns. It is the protagonist that looked like from the original Ico. Which, honestly, that is a pretty cool Easter egg in and of itself. But, I gotta say, the minimalist story, the adventure of the whole, like, adventure in and of itself, the epic battles, it wasn't, like, as long as it needed to be. I mean, if you wanted to, people listening at home, you could beat this game in roughly around maybe 6 hours if you want to.
Yeah.
It took me like a little over 5.5 hours. I want to say close to 6. I mean, granted, I've played this game off and on for the past 15 years. Of course, there were some things that I learned faster than others. But I'm so glad that over the span of that time, I managed to go through and finish the game. I actually went through and finished this game, even though it was so long since I first started it. But it also puts into like perspective that even if you go through and like enjoy a game, it's like, well, all these stuff that you've accomplished in regards since you first played that game, and all of a sudden just having that chapter just done. Because the thing about it that I'll remember most is like, yeah, I beat this game. I got through the journey. I finally finished what I think. But it was just sitting back in my chair, just watching the end credits roll and just realizing it's like, wow, this feels weird. It's like I spent so much time, like so many years trying to beat this game, and I finally beat it. That sense of satisfaction you get. Here's the thing about it. When you play video games, some of you guys go through and you beat it like in the span of a weekend. Or you beat in the span of a week. But if you're someone that didn't have a lot of information back then in order to try to finish a game, like say from a player's guide or from word of mouth or from whatever, and you had to figure it out up here in your head, having that type of moment to where now you have access to, obviously, new technology is going to help you go through and finish the games that you want, it's crazy. But this officially marks the longest stint I've ever had in terms of finishing a game. I think the previous one was with, I want to say it was Ocarina of Time, which that took me around 4 years, I think, to beat that game. But, yeah, Shadow of the Colossus, that was one game that I beat over the last over the last week. But the other game that I started playing, it was a funny story behind this. At work, I downloaded 2 apps. The Xbox app and the PlayStation app.
Okay.
There were 2 apps that I always wanted to go through and just dabble with. Just wanted to see. I wanted to check out the feature if I can download certain like games or something onto my system while like away from home. And so
yeah, as long as it's in rest mode, right?
I think it's no, actually. for the Xbox One S, I didn't have it in rest mode. I had it off.
Okay.
And it actually downloaded the game I wanted it to download.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
The PlayStation 4, it wasn't in rest mode, but when I turned it on, it then started to download it.
Yeah.
So they register things, which I was happy about that they actually registered. But on my PlayStation 4, I downloaded Assassin's Creed Origins. And I started playing Assassin's Creed Origins. The first night I downloaded it and started playing it, I spent about 3 hours playing it. I really started to enjoy what I was playing because the setting of it was fairly interesting. The whole exploring the Egyptian landscapes and stuff, and then going after, like, taking out animals, synchronizing, like, checkpoints or whatsoever from the highest checkpoints, accomplishing certain missions. I think, you know what? Yes. It's basically more Assassin's Creed in that retrospect. If you played one Assassin's Creed, you'll get the idea that, yeah, you go to another one and stuff, different settings, different characters, same certain mission structures, but at the same time, I was in the mood to play an Assassin's Creed game. And so, I've heard great things about Origins, heard even greater things about Odyssey, which I have both of those games. Decided to start off with Origins because that was the point where I felt like, you know what? I want to start with this one to see how it is. Started playing it. I've been playing little bits of it ever since downloading it, like last week. God damn, this game is actually fairly fun. It's actually fairly fun. Yeah, there are graphical glitches, and I actually have a picture that I took that I'm probably going to be sharing pretty soon, where I was going through this altar, and in the center of this altar, like outside of like one of these temples and stuff, right? There's an arm, right? There was like a pale white arm, and it was huge. It was actually the size of like a snake, almost, and it was just like random. There's like a giant, like a giant's arm. I thought it was like Andre the Giant's arm, just like on the top where like right in front of where this thing was tributed. And I looked down at it. I'm like, God damn, this has got to be one of those Ubisoft glitches. So I took a photo of it, went off with Bayek and stuff, and I'm like, I started going through a lot of the mission structure stuff. So it's like, how in Assassin's Creed games you're going to go through, you're going to synchronize this, and like do a lot of like random, like farming for resources. Well, in this game you can farm for resources. I thought it was pretty hilarious that there was a couple moments that were pretty damn funny in my honest opinion. There was a time where I was just running inside of like a forest and stuff like that with a Bayek, and all of a sudden I encountered a group, like a pack of hyenas. And I didn't know how many hyenas that I accidentally stumbled upon until they started chasing me. I looked back, I'm being chased like about 5 to 6 hyenas. I'm like, oh shit, I need to get the higher ground quick. And I go through and I started just taking them out one by one, taking off like their materials and stuff. Then there was something before that where I didn't know at the time, but I was being tailed by a cheetah. Like, no, by a leopard. And the fucking leopard decided to try to go through and try to take me out. I'm like, holy crap, no. No, I'm not gonna have you take me out. I like freaking use like one of my heavy weapons and stuff. I took the damn leopard out. It's just, and what's kind of funny about it is just like there has been one situation to where inside this new place where I'm exploring, I was just tailing along, and I saw randomly a group of like these enemy bandits, these NPCs, which are way stronger than me, facing off against these pack of freaking like hippo and stuff inside their freaking building, their village. just trying to take out one another and this and that. I'm just like going around and like, oh, okay, well, I better get to this checkpoint over here. And so just me going through using my, I think it was my Falcon or whatsoever, Senu, to go above and just check out the different types of enemies, like the different types of enemies and stuff like that, and see how they, if they're stronger than me, if they're like around the same level. Because I think it's like they have to be at least a few levels like above you in regards to just have that, but anything above that is considered like maybe like a red skull in that regards. I mean, they'll kill you and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I've tried. I've actually tried doing that, and I almost died because the main like leader of one of the packs that I was going through inside of one of these like bandit hideouts, he only did like a sliver of damage. Like a sliver of damage, like, oh well, time to exit out and get all the old dusty trail. So I just But what I'm really liking about it is I'm collecting a lot of various items, like a lot of strong particular items. It's interesting that they separated them into like different classes of items in general. Like you have things that are like hunter or predator or kind of warrior items or this or that, like strong, fast, strong, heavy, slow or whatever. But the random perks and stuff that I've been unlocking too, I mean, some of them are standard Assassin's Creed affairs where you have to jump from a ledge in order to go through and do an attack. Or I think one of my favorite ones right now has to do with the whole, like, oh god, I think it's using Senu or something like that, and then like just stunning an enemy or something down below. I actually was enjoying a little bit of the combat of it too. It's like, I understand there's some aspects of Assassin's Creed, some of the earlier games, especially Assassin's Creed 2, with its combat being kind of a little bit wonky, but this one wasn't so bad.
No,
it's a little bit more.
It's more like Witcher.
Yeah, it kind of felt like that to me. A little bit more like a Witcher sort of approach to it, to where if you wanted to, you could hold your shield up, and like you could wait for the enemy to go through and attack you, and then you just press the R2 button to just go through like a stagger thing, and all of a sudden just use a couple light attacks. I did that on one of the missions. It was the side mission to where the champion of this one temple, this one village itself, he has to perform like as dress up as one of the gods and stuff to face off against one of the evil deities and stuff like that for this big old elaborate play. But he's supposed to be this hero, right? But he loves his drinks and he's passed out drunk for like a couple. And it was kind of funny because you go to this bar, right? You finally locate him with Senu. You go to the certain spot, and then it's like you go through the carry-on, and like the lady it's like, oh my god, thank you. He's been here for the last few hours. I'm trying to make him leave, and it's like he's passed out on the ground and stuff like that, and you just carry him all the way to there, and finally once you get to like the main guy, the main NPC or something you're supposed to give him to, it's like, oh god, what the hell happened to him? It was like, well, he's been drunk. It's like, well, do you want to go through and take his place or something like that so you can do this? Like, oh, okay. And so you just basically put on this like suit, this like almost it's like this god's tribal suit in order to fight against this one dude. And it's not too bad of a battle. You just go through, just block his attack, then just press R2 to do a heavy, do some lights, and then repeat after that, and then occasionally press the R1 and R2 button to do these crazy like flurry attacks and stuff like that. So my overall experience so far with Assassin's Creed Origins, I think I've put about 5 or 6 hours into the game. It's still early on. I'm having a ton of fun exploring the overworld. I'm having a ton of fun gathering resources and upgrading my inventory stuff from like my gauntlet, for my shield, not my shield, but like gauntlets for my quiver, for like everything else in that regards. But I'm liking a lot of the different abilities, and I'm so fascinated to try to unlock some of the other abilities, like say jumping and then shooting bow, like shooting my arrows and stuff in midair and stuff. I really want to try to get that one. But just a lot of the experimental stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing for this week.
Nice. Going back to Shadow Colossus, did you fight the hidden extra Colossus after you beat the main game?
I don't think so. I've only beaten the 16 that were available inside that main game.
So there's a 17th one. It's actually the witch from Resident Evil 8. You have to climb her.
God damn it, Tyler.
I'm like, oh, he's buying this. Look at, I didn't think you'd buy it. I'm like, he's full of shit. Okay. The look of disappointment on your face when I said it. We've been doing this for almost 8 years now. Almost 8 fucking years.
Oh my god. The moment you said The Witch from Resident Evil 8, I'm like, god damn it.
I don't think... I literally made a joke about putting jizz in a fucking Cadbury egg, and he was more disappointed by that joke than by me sucking dick for Cadbury eggs. I just want to point that out. This is where we are in this podcast, where he's so used to me just sucking dick for random things, but making Resident Evil 8 jokes and Shadow Colossus, no go. All right, well that's a good way to end the show right there, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to hear more from us, we're in all the places, all the places where pods are cast. Like, follow, subscribe, share, YouTube, Twitch. Please do all those. Comments, 5 stars, everything. We really appreciate it. Help us out. Until next time, I'm Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. until next time, everyone, hope you have yourself a fun time. Definitely play yourself some fun games, and thank you for listening to another fun episode of the Drone Cash Nerds podcast.
Yeah, Gables.
Yep.
Too sweet.
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.